Broadcasting from the beautiful Great Lakes state of Michigan, I'm Tom Bartholomew, your host of the Michigan Contractor Show. And I worked in the construction industry for over 25 years. I started on a job site when I was 14, working for my dad on a vinyl siding job. Now I spend all my time running a digital marketing agency where I help contractors and companies in the skilled trade promote their business and reach customers in ways they never thought possible. Again, my name is Tom, and let's get to today's guest. My guest today is from the Michigan Builders License.com. He is an inaugural part, the CEO of the company. I want to welcome today Derek Woryn. Thanks for joining me today, Derek.
Tom, it is absolutely fantastic to be on your show today, the Michigan Contractor Show, as you're launching this and getting going. So super excited to be one of your first guests and be a part of your show today. As you said, I am the CEO for Michigan Builders License. And what we do, to your guests that are listening on the podcast today, is we are the number one provider of the pre-license education and also the continuing education that contractors here in the state of Michigan need to obtain their license and then also to renew it and keep it going. And we've been doing this since 1982. Started teaching just in helping people pass the test. And we've evolved to where we are today, which is providing the state mandated education so people can become contractors, have careers, and also be really successful while doing it.
Yeah, I think it's very important in order to get a builder's license. And I remember when I was licensed for over 25 years. When I was 19, I got my license, and I remember taking a course beforehand to make sure that I was able to pass. So it's very important. Now it's required.
Yeah. So just kind of give you some history of it. It used to be that going back in the 80s and 90s, all you had to do as a contractor was to pass an exam that was administered by the state of Michigan. And what was happening is that people were passing the exam, but they weren't able to actually run successful businesses. As far as the financial aspect of it, the liability, putting together contracts that protected the contractors and the homeowners. And so the state became so inundated with complaints about contractors and jobs not getting finished that essentially they said that the state had to do a much better job of qualifying people and making sure that they were prepared to be not only contractors, but business owners. And so they essentially mandated a 60-hour pre-license course that teaches all the essentials of being a contractor in business. So the financial aspect of it, the building codes and regulations, the state codes and regulations, the things that you have to comply with, when you're doing jobs, whether it's renovations or new homes or things like that. And we became one of the approved providers of that course when this initial requirement came out. And we developed a phenomenal 60-hour course, which we continue to develop and refine. We have 3 locations throughout Michigan where people can take live classes. We've got Grand Rapids, Bloomfield Hills, and then we also have Livonia, Michigan, which is our premier center. Beautiful place, classroom over in the Laurel Park Place Mall. We've got a whole classroom set up, and our chief instructor, Sid Woryn, teaches those classes, does an absolutely phenomenal job. At this point, Sid has been doing it since 1982 when he started teaching the test prep courses, and he holds the distinction of having trained more contractors in the state of Michigan than anybody else, which is quite an amazing accomplishment. He's almost a celebrity when he walks into Home Depot. People know who he is. They come up, they say hi to him. They're like, "Hey, Sid, I recognize you. I took your course and became a builder because of you." And so it's really been an incredible testimony to him to have so many people that he's touched their lives and has made an impact, helping them become successful here in the state. So.
Yeah, Sid, I think that probably a lot of, we had Sid on the show for our March 1st premiere, and he was one of the 10 that we put out then. And I'm sure that a lot of people watching and listening right now have taken the course with Sid.
They have. And then what we also do is because of COVID, we were limited by the state of Michigan in being able to do our live classes. We had to cut back the number of people we could have in the classroom. We had social distancing requirements we had met. Some people just don't even want to be out in the mayhem and the chaos that we call the world now. And so we also offer that course online, which is a huge convenience because you can take the course from any location, anytime you have an internet connection, whether it's your mobile phone, your PC, your tablet, you can complete the course that way as well. And so what we're seeing is that, I mean, here's the exciting thing that's going on in the state of Michigan. There has never been a better time to become a contractor. It has been a long time since the contractors have been able to essentially name their price as far as what they charge and what they are worth. And we're living in that time right now. Housing is at an all-time shortage. The amount of inventory is substantially depleted. People are choosing to renovate and remodel their homes rather than try to move out and find a new one. They like the location, they like their home. It's just they want a new kitchen, they want a new bathroom, they want to upgrade it, you know, to make it better. And so what we're seeing is a shortage of contractors and general labor in that market. And so we've actually been really, really busy. You'd think with COVID we would be slow, but we're not. We're actually busier than ever because there's so much money to be made out there. There's so much opportunity. And homeowners and companies that hire contractors just can't find enough people that are quality people that are going to show up, that are going to basically complete the job like they say they are. And so contractors are essentially finally in a place that they can name their own price for jobs, that they can name what they're charging for things, and they're not having any problem getting it right now.
Yes, everyone I talk to says that the industry is booming right now. Booming. In fact, when I was talking with Sid, one of his great pieces of advice was to pre-order and try to stock up on materials that you'll be using because there is going to be a shortage. They've already let us know with everything going on in Texas.
There really seems to be, not only with Texas, but what we're seeing is that the supply chain has been significantly limited because just things like framing materials, 2x4s and things like that, because there's there's less people working at these factories that produce this stuff. There's a slowdown in getting the raw materials needed to produce things, the logs and all that there's less supply available, and then the prices are going up. So definitely things that contractors use all the time. It's a great time to be stocking up on it as we're seeing prices increasing and the availability to get those materials dropping as well.
Yeah, so also the price, because price doesn't go down in materials. Even when I don't do construction anymore. Now I just do the digital marketing and help contractors market their company. But I know that when I was doing work, prices never went down. So if you can buy your stuff in advance, not only will you have it, but you're probably going to save some cost in the long run.
Yes, no question about it. And just being able to have the materials readily available to you, so you're not delaying your jobs 1-2 weeks. That's another differentiator that'll set you apart. You know, if a contractor says, yeah, I'll do the job, but we can't start for 3 months because we can't get materials, and you can start it in 2 weeks, I mean, you're going to get the job. I mean, just people don't want to wait for the availability of materials and things like that. So it's a great differentiator.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know nowadays you're absolutely right. People just don't want to wait for things. Not like used to. Now with the advent of the internet and we can get information at our fingertips right now, they don't want to wait for just because you can't get materials. And even if it's not your fault, they will think it is. They will think it's your inability to do your job properly, even you have no control over it. So I think that's great advice.
Tom, you mentioned about how important digital marketing has become in this time that we're living in, and you're absolutely 100% right. I'll just kind of touch on that a little bit. We have an entire marketing department at our company, and 99% of it is all digital. And essentially we are advertising the channels that we're using to advertise our email campaigns. And it's not just enough to email anymore, because the email services, Gmail, Yahoo, all filter email now and to eliminate spam from hitting people's inbox. So having a successful email marketing campaign that you know that email is being delivered to your prospective clients is super important. We're also running Google Adwords campaigns, which the difference with that is that we're paying advertising dollars. to get our company in front of people that may potentially be looking for a license, that may be looking for continuing education so they can renew their license. So the having an expert in-house that knows how to run those Google AdWords campaigns is absolutely critical. It also goes by the name of PPC, which is pay-per-click. So essentially what you're paying for is every time somebody clicks on your ad, you're paying Google for the privilege of getting that customer and their information. Facebook is absolutely, probably for contractors, that's probably one of the biggest opportunities that we're seeing right now. In comparison to what we have to pay for Google to serve an ad for us, Facebook is, let's say we have to pay $1 to Google, we're paying 10 cents to Facebook. And so actually our best ROI right now is on acquiring cold customers through Facebook and finding them on those channels. And that is working out really well. If there was ever a time to basically capitalize on something, my advice to the people listening to the show would be learn how to do Facebook advertising, because this window isn't going to last long. Eventually, Facebook will cost just as much, if not more, as Google AdWords will cost. And so you have this limited window to acquire new customers and find them there. So all of that being said, being able to find somebody that is really good at digital marketing, that understands this, being able to build a website. So when people actually do see your ad and they go to your website, that it's something that draws them in, something that differentiates you from the other contractors that are out there. It's modern, it's clean, it works on a mobile device. All of these are things that I'm telling you, it seems like 90% of contractors don't understand. And it's not because they don't want to, they're just busy building homes. They're on the job sites, from 6 in the morning till 8 o'clock at night. They don't have time to worry about how their website looks on somebody's mobile phone, whether it's an iPhone or it's a Samsung Galaxy. And so partnering with a digital marketing company that can get your message out there and present it in a very professional way is going to be really key to getting more business in that. Another tactic that we're using is once somebody hits our website and they actually look at it, then another super effective, cost-effective way is basically called retargeting. And retargeting is the process of continuing to send ads specifically to that person, literally for pennies, just to keep your name in front of them. We all know how Coca-Cola uses their brand basically to constantly put their name and their product in front of you. And so it's the same, you've got to do the same thing to be competitive in today's market. So once somebody comes to your website, they're on your website, the next thing you know, one of their kids comes running up to them, they've got a problem with their homework at school, they get a text message, they're distracted. There's a million things distracting us today. And so constantly being able to, for the next 30 days, is to put your website in front of them, and what you're about is just that gentle reminder, hey, you're thinking about doing that renovation or remodeling project, don't forget about us, give us a call. And also making it very easy for people to reach you. So one of the things that I see is that I'll go to somebody's website and I'll test them just to see how much they really want my business and to see if they're really paying attention to their customers. And so I'll fill out the contact us form on the website and see how long it takes for them to return my call. And I would say 80% of the time, I never even get a call back. And another 10% of the time, it's several days later. And if business owners would understand, if you get to somebody within the first 5 minutes of them hitting your website, whether it's a phone call, whether it's a contact form on your website, your odds of getting that sale go up by 90%. It just shows that you are aggressive, that you want their business, that you're a real up and running company, and people respond to that.
Absolutely. You are speaking my language with the digital marketing. You touched on something right there that I don't think a lot of people realize, and I'd like to unpack a little bit more, is the retargeting ads. They are probably the most cost effective. You put, they come to your site, you have some stuff in the back end so it tracks it, and then when they leave, after they leave your site, it's going to start showing them ads for you, whatever you put out there. So hey, we saw you checked out our website, here's this, or whatever. So, and those are, like you said, are very cost effective, because you're not just, hoping and praying that you're going to reach somebody. Somebody's already been and shown interest on your site.
Right. Exactly. And so the hardest person to reach is a cold prospect, to locate that person, know that they're interested. So when someone raises their hand and says, I clicked on your ad, I came to your website, then you have to keep your name in front of them until you get the close. And typically, the research and data says that it takes 7 touch points before somebody will say yes to closing a sale. And so if you're just expecting people to come to your website one time and that's good enough, it's not. I mean, we actually use a strategy of cold traffic campaigns, then getting them to our website, getting them into some action on our website, whether it's filling out a form or picking up the phone. Then we follow up with an email, then we follow up with a text message, then we follow up with another phone call. And we keep repeating this process until an email, a phone call, or a text message, or they reach out to us. One of those is effective at getting them to call us and allowing us to close that deal.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing that you were talking about, where you said about the phone calls, reaching someone once it's funny that you tested that out, because I hear that when I was doing construction, I would show up at somebody's house and they're like, I can't, we reached out to 10 contractors and you were the only one that called us back. Hey, you call me, that means that shows me interest. I'm spending money to get people to call me. I want to call them back. I want to maximize my return on investment.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. Where it used to be, like you said, 10, we called 10 contractors and you're the only one that returned my call. It's now up to 20 contractors because they're so busy. The really good contractors are overwhelmed with work right now. And so they are not even calling people back because they don't have time. They couldn't take on more work even if they wanted to. So it's really simple to cherry pick great paying jobs, great customers, and there's plenty of opportunity out there. All you gotta do is pick up the phone. That's as easy as it is. It's worth hiring a virtual assistant or an answering service that can professionally answer the call. I mean, people are shocked when they call our company and we pick up after the first ring and they're like, oh my gosh, it's a real person. They're like, we weren't expecting that. We were expecting to be on hold like for 2 hours like we do with our cell phone company. And so that that's something that's so inexpensive to do that wows people. And we're always looking at ways, how can you provide positively outrageous service? And the great news is you don't have to be crazy about it anymore because the service is generally across 90% of companies is so bad that if you just pick up the phone and you talk to people respectfully and offer to help them solve their problem, they will love you.
I think you just hit the nail right on the head, no pun intended there, but speaking to contractors, but yeah, absolutely, you be nice, professional. I had another guy on the show that does screen printing embroidery. You look professional. You want people to respect you, and you want to command a high dollar work. You need to look like a high dollar person and be respectful, and you're going to get that work. Right now, especially, you just have to be out there. You put some good, you have a website. That's what I do for contractors. I help them set that up. I help them set up that stuff. So I know exactly what you're talking about. And a lot of times, a contractor, they tried building, a lot of them that I work with, they built their website themselves or they had their son build it. And I say, well, if you have a plumbing job, are you going to call the electrician?
Right.
And they go, oh, well, and contractors are smart. They can figure out how to build their website and they can figure out how to do Facebook ads or the pay-per-click on Google or whatever. But do they really, they're busy right now. Should they be spending their time on that? No, probably not. They should hire someone like myself or have a marketing team that helps them with it.
Exactly. And Tom, could you just talk a little bit about all the different marketing services you offer for contractors? Because that's really big. And it's the essential part of it's no longer an option. It's an essential part of business. What specific things can they get help from you with?
Well, this show is really about you, but since you asked, I work with contractors only. I only work with people in the skilled trades. I don't get into any other industries. That way I understand what's happening right now. I do website design. First thing I try to find what their niche is. Who is their customer? That's the first and foremost. You need to know who you're trying to get. Then we formulate a plan. We, offer that consultation. We work on building a website, updating the website, making it so it's got the right search engine optimization. I'll help them write articles on their blog. That's a big part, is having content. So I do article writing. And again, I service the construction industry. I was a carpenter, a builder. I started when I was 14, helping my dad on a vinyl siding job. And then when I was 19, I got my builder's license. So I was in this industry for many, many, many years. And now I am just in a different role. So now when you go out and you hire someone, a marketing person that works for everybody, that works for restaurants and attorneys and doctors, they don't really understand the construction industry. They have to research it. And I don't necessarily have to do that. I understand it. I speak your language. That's really where I come in. I help with that. I help with some, setting up your ads, your pay-per-click on Google, the AdSense. I help them with all that stuff. Just depends. Every customer is different, and I provide a different service for everybody. And I just want them to, make sure all their marketing is in line and they reach the right customers.
Yeah, and I really appreciate the fact that you're doing that for contractors, because so many website companies, they're a jack of all trades, master of none. And we've dealt with this as a company where we hire a new web development firm or we hire a new marketing agency, and it takes months to get them up to speed and they don't understand your business and everything. So one of the things I would really encourage people listening to the show is find somebody that specializes in your niche and understands it, because you are going to save so much time not having to get them up to speed. And then you're also going to get a much better end product because they know how to specifically design for the construction industry. They know how to get leads for the construction industry and how everything works. And most people just kind of like go to their cousin that does web design, or they go to some friend that they know. They've heard that they build websites, and there's no substitute for having somebody that's an expert doing it. It's worth paying. I would honestly pay double market rates to get somebody that's an expert in my industry, just because I know they're going to get the job done, and I'm going to far exceed my investment. I'm going to make that money back because they know how to reach my customer and they know how to get it done. So all really, really good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate you asking. Like I said, really the show is all about you, and I want to bring people to the MichiganBuildersLicense.com and to you and to Sid and all your trainers. You guys put out a great product that, the listeners, the contractors, they all need you. Before they get their license, after they get their license, they need you guys.
And let me tell you a little bit about why we're so passionate about this. Sid, who's our chief instructor, started teaching people how to just get through the exam, because a lot of contractors are great in the field, working with their hands, doing the construction aspect of it. But yet the state throws this hurdle at them, which is you've got to pass this test that's written by state bureaucrats and academics that has nothing to do with the actual job that you're trying to do as a contractor. But you got to jump through their hoops and everything. So what we did, Sid started essentially helping people prep for this test. Essentially, we would do test simulations where we would run people through the questions and the answers that they were going to see on the exam over and over and over again until they could just walk in and take it and pass it no problem. Well, then the state started doing the 60-hour requirement. So we meet the 60-hour requirement, which is a lot of the basics that you need to be a contractor in Michigan and grow a business. And then also we include the part on how to pass the exam as well. So we still do the test simulation and making sure people can pass the test. Then once you get the license, what we offer is the state requires 3 hours of continuing education every year. There's a 1 hour MIOSHA requirement, which is ocean safety regulations. There's a 1 hour building codes requirement. So we keep people up to date on any code changes that have been there, because there's nothing worse than you're on a job site, you've almost got it completed, you call for inspection, and the code enforcement comes by and says, you did it wrong. We just changed the code on this last year, so tear it down and redo it. Even though it would be perfectly fine just the way you did it. The structure's not going to fail. It's going to last for years, but they are hard and fast to their rules and everything. So we have that 1 hour of code to make sure people don't have those situations happen. And then we have also 1 hour of business, what the latest business law changes are in the state of Michigan, just to keep people up to date, make sure that once again, the state doesn't hit them with any surprises or things that they may not be expecting. And where we're going as well, to me, it just hasn't been enough to provide people the education that they need to pass the test to get their license. We've really now been focused on two other areas, which is how can we help contractors make more money? And then also how can we protect them from liability that would cause them to lose money? And one of the big things that we're teaching now in our courses is how to write a rock solid contract that is going to stand up in the event of a dispute with an owner. These things happen. It's almost inevitable that at some point in your construction career, there's going to be a difference of opinions as far as what the customer believed they communicated and what the contractor actually executed on. So one of the things that we've done that's helped tremendously is that within the contract, everything is settled by arbitration. So before a court case is filed and you go through all the headaches and costs associated with that, it's called alternative dispute resolution, where essentially an arbitrator will come in and attempt to resolve the matter without having to go to court, without the expense of all the attorneys, and see if there can be a resolution reached among the two parties. So that's been massively successful within our company as far as we've had so many people come back and tell us, thank you so much. We hit this problem on the job. We solved it with alternative dispute resolution, and thousands and thousands of dollars that we would have had to put into this to try to solve this problem. And then we're also, on the other aspect, we're always communicating to our students what is really hot in the industry. So right now, new home construction is really hot. There's just not enough homes available. If you've got a new home that you're building on spec or something like that, it's probably going to be sold within it'll probably be sold before it's even completed, with the demand that there is for housing right now. Insulation is another big one because there's some new insulation materials that are coming out that are far better than the current products that are on the market. Blown-in insulation, insulation that's essentially pumped in between the walls, the 2x4s, so the outer structure, inner structure, twice as effective as far as insulation. So we're always trying to communicate, hey, if you're looking to make money, here's what you should be looking at to go make money quick and easy, because as you know, we all want to make money smarter, not having to work harder. And so we're always trying to help people do that.
Well, so I love that, because you guys aren't just helping people pass their license or continue their education. You're helping them. You're plugged right into the industry. All the people coming in, you hear what they're talking about. Sid was saying he learns just as much from the students as he's teaching them, he feels sometimes. And he gets a ton of information there. And so you guys are plugged right in. You know what's happening. You got your thumb on the industry, so you can, and you share that with them. So that added benefits of going with builder's license.
Yeah, no, that's actually one of the greatest joys that we have is we run classes about every 2 weeks. We have a new class that's starting, and we have so many people from different walks of life, different niches in the industry, from roofing to concrete to framing, new home construction, commercial construction. And so we're essentially a clearinghouse of information to be able to get all these guys together and have them share information. You know, if they can just learn one or two pieces of information that's going to help them grow and expand their business from another person, and they're all sharing that information, at the end of that 2 weeks, they're walking out with something much more than an education. They're walking out with a roadmap and a game plan to make money, be successful, be profitable, and to create a great life for themselves and their families.
What great added benefits that probably a lot of people don't even realize they're going to be getting from your guys' course.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's above and beyond even from what other companies, from what I hear, other education companies will offer.
Yeah, it's we do have competition within the state of Michigan, but I think this is the biggest thing that differentiates us. Where everybody else is just trying to put out a educational product, whether it's a live course or online, and just get people in and out. We've really come to a place where we've been very fortunate. Both my dad and I started off doing hardcore construction in Detroit, and we understand how challenging that is to start a business, to deal with all the challenges and growing a business, and do that year after year. I mean, we've had accidents on the job sites where people have been hurt. We've been sued by customers. We've been through all of the stuff that makes it so hard for these guys. And because of the faith that the builders in the state of Michigan have put in us to be their educator and to help us grow to the place we are today, we really feel that now is our time to give back. And so our give back is sharing all of the stories, the lessons that we've learned, so that they don't have to make them again, to put the proper safeties in place so they don't have somebody get hurt on a job site. And it's tough. I mean, when we started out, we didn't have the money to afford safety harnesses when we were up on a roof, nor the time. Our goal was to get up on that roof, to get the job done and knocked out and move on to the next one. And so we get it. We get that it's tough for people, but we also want to be there to share, here's how you can do it and still make a profit on the job and be safe and grow your business at the same time.
Yeah, what you said rings true, I'm sure, for a lot of people that if they've been doing it for a long time. I know I used to do exterior modeling is what I specialized in, decks, window siding, roofing, of course, because 70% of the calls were for a roof. So business kind of dictated that. And when I was working, especially in the beginning, I didn't even know anything about safety harnesses or, safety down at the eave end, putting up the railing and all that stuff. We just put on some, roof jacks and some 2x6s and, hope we stayed on the roof. We might have some scaffolding at the eave edge, where you would climb up or whatever. But, luckily I had no accidents on my crew. I was always very safe with them, and obviously not safe enough. But as we got going, we eventually got that stuff. But in the beginning, I didn't even have any clues. So, I think you're right. You're exactly right.
The rain gutter was the last defense to grab onto as you were going off the roof, to slow yourself down, to hopefully soften the impact to the ground. That was what we used it for.
That's right. Oh, I'm sure that you are not alone in that thought process, because I remember thinking the same thing. What can I grab a hold of if I fall?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, absolutely. So what else would you like to tell people? Where we talked about your website and all the great benefits you have. How often are you guys doing classes?
We generally have a class starting every 2 weeks in one of our locations, whether that's Livonia, West Bloomfield, Grand Rapids on the other side of the state. And then the online class is on demand. So anytime somebody decides that, hey, I need to get started, I just quit working for somebody else, I want to start my own company. The state of Michigan just came in, inspected my job site, realized I didn't have a license, I'm in trouble. And my only way out is to go get licensed. I got to do it quickly. Simply go to our website, michiganbuilderslicense.com, purchase your 60-hour course, and you'll be up and running within 5 minutes. You'll have access to it. And you can either sit down and do all 60 hours in a marathon session with a case of Red Bull and cigarettes, or you can take it 1 hour a day and spread it out as long as you want. That's one of the nice things about the on-demand courses. A lot of people still enjoy the camaraderie of being in a classroom with other people, going through it together. And so that's why we keep the live classes going as well. And that, but just the main thing is, if you're looking to go into this industry, give us a call. I mean, we can at least tell you where to get started, what you're going to need to do. And then you can make a decision, shop around, see what other course providers are out there. But I promise you're going to love us the best. And you're going to have a great experience with us, because our heart is really in seeing you become successful, not just providing you a course, but creating a career, creating a business that's going to provide jobs to other people and also help you get to your dreams and goals.
Absolutely. And how can you deny that experience that Sid has starting in 1982 teaching the courses? Right.
And another thing is, people learn best through stories. If you look at some of the greatest teachers of all times, they educated through stories. And it's one thing when you can all remember being in elementary school and having to listen to a teacher just lecture and try to retain the information. It's just boring. It's hard to comprehend. But you all remember people that shared stories with you. And that's really Sid's primary way of teaching, is to share actual stories that bring these concepts to life and practical application. And so when you're listening to him tell a story about one of his first jobs, building a Dairy Queen, and he didn't leave an inspection hole for the inspector to come and see the depth of the footing. And essentially the guy was essentially going to make him break it up and redo it. And the guy cut him a break because my dad begged and pleaded, please don't make us redo this. I mean, we spent thousands of dollars in having the concrete poured and all this stuff. So the guy essentially made his point. And so what we're trying to do is make sure that other people don't have to go through those same experiences. Listen to the story, remember that story, and make sure that it doesn't ever happen to you.
Yeah, great advice. And I think you are absolutely right. People love stories. They want to hear stories. They remember stories. I had a history teacher in high school. You're right. He just talked like this, and he was very monotone and didn't tell any stories. And it was boring. I don't remember anything other than he was boring.
Yeah.
And Sid is not. We had him on the show, like I said, and he was exciting. He told us some stories right on the show about different things, about people that come in and take the test, and about experiences he's had, and other jobs that he does as well. So it was great, and people can hear Sid's stories. He's in the Livonia location you guys have.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. Anything else, Derek, you'd like the contractors listening to know?
Hey, I just wish all of them success out there. Like I said, there's never been a better time. Get out there, charge what you're worth, because this is the time to get it, and enjoy this bull run in the construction industry that we're having, whether you're doing siding, windows, remodeling, new construction, framing. There's plenty of work out there, not only for you, but for everybody else. So go get your share of it and make your dreams and goals happen for your life.
Well, I think that's great advice. Thank you so much for being on the show today, Derek. And if you enjoyed this episode, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. Give us a thumbs up. Leave us a comment down below if you've taken Sid's course. We'd love to hear about your experiences with Sid. And you can find them at MichiganBuildersLicense.com. And make sure to hit the bell so you'll be notified every Tuesday when we put out a new interview with someone in the skilled trade or someone that services the skilled trade. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. If you would like to be a guest on this show, head on over to MichiganContractorsShow.com. Fill out the form. We'll get back to you to find the best time for you to make an appearance on the Michigan Contractors Show. Thanks again. My name is Tom, and we'll see you on Tuesday.